Hello, friends. Welcome to Suman versus Human, a brand new episode 42 of Suman versus Human. On this episode, I have a wonderful guest. She is Divya Sharma, a national awardee, a content creator, a corporate writer, a blue belt in martial arts. The list is never ending. Let's quickly welcome the lovely Divya Sharma on Suman versus Human. Divya, welcome to Suman versus Human.
Hi, Suman, and hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here.
Divya, the list is so big. You have achieved so much in life despite of your disability. How could you do
Yeah.
that?
Suman, I believe that, when you experience so many discriminations in your life, then you realize that, you have to do for yourself and you only can do something about yourself. And this is something that has been there in me since my childhood. When I was told to leave a mainstream school, and none of the schools in my area gave me admission because of the disability. So it was in class 7. So I realized, this is time that I have to fight for myself. And maybe that is something that motivated me to do as much as I can.
Divya, what surprises me is how could a blind girl can get blue belt in martial arts? Let me start the show with this point.
Suman, I have always been fascinated towards fitness. I used to go on walks with my mom, and then I was looking for a martial art coach in my city. I belong to a very small city near Nangal, which is in Punjab. So there was no coach, and people were hesitant. You are a first of all, you are a female, and then you want to learn karate, and you have a disability, you are visually challenged. So I thought, I wanted to learn this. It was not for any, any fights or fights on the in the championships or that matter. I just wanted to learn There was that kind of craving. So I just looked for so many coach for like more than 3 4 years. Then I somehow got to know about somebody, and I realized, yeah, I can do that. But the tragedy was therein also I got to learn it from a coach whom I used to pay double the fees just because I was visually impaired. So the journey was not easy. Of course, I had to figure out how will I get to know about the punch, from where the punch is coming, from where the kick is coming. They used to touch. There were initially there was a combo of brother and sister, so they were teaching me. So that girl used to hold my hand and used to tell me, this is the angle, this is how. Then I believe that once you get into something, you realize new ways of doing that. So then I started practicing. They used to hit 500 punches every day in the stomach.
Oh.
So there was run, there were kicks, there were conditioning. Conditioning is something wherein you have to lock your body and the other person will hit you in the legs or on your foot or
Yeah,
maybe on the
yeah.
arm or the back, so that you have that conditioning. Because karate is not about hitting. It's about it's about
Defense.
defending
Yeah,
yourself and tolerating the pain.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was like that, and this is how we started.
How do you know when they are ready to punch you on your face?
Initially, they used to hit me, and I used to, it was late. The moment they hit me, only then I got to know. But that's what the thing is.
But
Generally,
that is during practice. But my question is, if at all you are supposed to do a real fight, then that's going to be a challenge, right, for a blind person?
see, I attained 5 belts so far, and the most latest one is blue belt. Okay, so there are two things. First is you will aim for fights in championships. The second thing is you will do a syllabus every 3 months, 6 months, and there will be a set of kicks, punches, kata, and different types of blocks and all. Okay, so you have to pass that test to get the belt. So that's how I gained 5 belts. But the point is, if I want to go for a championship, that is not allowed for a person with disability in any championship. So that's a rule, that's a law. Even if I want to go for that fight, I can't, because obviously the other person will punch my eye. That's the thing. But having said so,
Very inspiring, Divya. This is a movement where I want to salute you for your great achievement.
thank you, Suman. I'm just looking forward to have black belt someday, so that I can become most probably the first visually impaired woman to have this
You will do
karate
it
black
for
belt.
sure. I'm sure you will
At
get
the
it.
moment, I don't have the coach because after pandemic the coach shifted. But that doesn't mean I stopped. I practice every day 1.5 hours weightlifting, cardio, and kick and punching. So I practice every day. But yeah, I'm looking forward for this, and let's see. Maybe in future I will gain this because practice, practice is important for this
Divya,
discipline.
I'm surprised. How come you paid twice or you paid double for the reason you are
Yeah.
disabled?
See, they said ki, they were hesitant, and I understand when a normal, so-called normal person will teach a person with vision impairment, they are hesitant. How will you manage? And they will also look for their benefit, right? So
Yeah.
and I also thought it's justified because they used to teach me, then they were patient enough, and obviously it looks like it's discrimination, but sometimes we can't just question this because obviously reality is reality. They have to be more patient. In other scenarios, a person who can see properly, he or she can just look at them and learn faster. But a visually challenged person has to learn in a different way. So somehow sometimes my coach used to say, the kick is coming from the left and you are blocking on the right. So these are the things that you learn with the coach, and obviously you make your own ways. So I think it's justifiable, but on an upper level, we will think, yeah, it's not right, but I think it's okay.
And I call it financial discrimination.
That is there. I mean, we can fight for it, but eventually we have to bow down. Otherwise, we will lose the coach. What else? That's the
Divya,
reality.
you know what? Whoever guests coming on Suman versus Human, I used to tell them that you are
Yeah.
fighter. But this is the episode where I'm telling you that you are a real fighter.
Thank you so much, Suman. It means a lot.
How
Yeah.
did you start this journey of disability?
Actually, I have a twin sister. We are twin sisters and an elder brother. Okay, so when I was 3.5 years old, my parents got to know that something is not right with her, and then they took me to the hospital in Chandigarh. Then the doctors there were not that aware. They said, "Ki no, such a beautiful eyes. What will happen?" So 3-4 days they were just procrastinating and giving all kinds of drips and all. Then they took me to Delhi. There was a doctor, Hathon ke Jadugar, NN Sood. So somebody told ki, you have glaucoma, and I had glaucoma and plus something related to retina. So I underwent around 6 surgeries by the age of 6. And then they said ki, nothing can be done in glaucoma and all. So now it's like ki I have very little sight in one eye, but I can't recognize people. I can't see what is in front of me. I can't read, I can't write. So we left it there because glaucoma has no cure,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
So then I decided it's better to, my parents also realized, it's better to work on other areas like personality, learning, education, lifestyle. So we worked on that then after undergoing 6 surgeries.
6 is quite a sensible age. When you come to know that you got this eye problem, what was
Yeah.
your reaction then? I'm sorry, it's difficult to remember, but any by any chance, do you remember any of your emotions that time?
See, this is something that many people ask me, and I laugh at it, and I just tell them, ki, I had a twin sister, as I said, ki, I have twin sisters. So we used to go to a normal school, and I was with my sister. So most of the times, I couldn't feel it that way. But, unless somebody tells you, ki, you don't have this, you don't realize it. So at that age, people, I thought, ki, everybody has that much of issues, or maybe they also can't see. So I didn't realize it unless the society made me feel that. This is something that is the fact. Ki unless somebody tells you, ki, you have this problem, or they make you feel that, you may not realize it that deep. So I think at that time also I was okay. I was going through the same routine as my sister did. I used to do, but then the main blow I got when it was in class 7th, when I was told to leave school because of the disability. So that was the thing. Ki, okay, now this is something huge. I mean, this is life
Yeah,
changing.
yeah.
None of the schools gave admission, so that was a setback for sure.
You were so young when you started facing Discrimination. Now you are old
Yeah.
enough to understand it, right? Now, what is the
Yeah.
difference? Did you see any progress in discrimination?
See, discrimination has different layers in different societies. In some places, discrimination is, for example, when I was too young, I went to somebody who was very, a very known people. So I went there with my mom, brother, and sister, and they were just asking my sister and brother, "How are you doing?" and all. They didn't even acknowledge that I am sitting there. So that was a different kind of discrimination. Okay, that when your presence is not even realized.
Yeah.
Then there was discrimination when I was a kid. My parents, took somebody's advice who was the head of some media here
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
Punjab.
Hmm.
So main lady she was at that time. So they asked her, ki, what should be done? You might have met so many people. You might have more exposure.
Hmm.
Then she said, ki, these kind of kids should be doing domestic work. So
Hmm.
this is what she
Hmm.
said, my parents. And my parents never told me this unless in 2013, I was in my cousin's wedding and I was performing on guitar. I was singing a song for them, and that lady was there in the audience, and she got teary and she left the ceremony. So my mom told me, she was, I guess, so embarrassed that she said that about you at that time, young, when you were 6 or 7 years old.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, I feel that with time, discrimination changes. Then, when I achieved things, I was doing so many different things. I started sensitizing sessions. Then I was associated with Radio Udan. We started it in 2014. So I was into so many things. I was a guitarist. I was a performer. Then martial arts, and then obviously Punjab State Award I received in 2016. So people perception changed. I feel sometimes people don't understand what you do unless they hear it from others. So they were discriminating at every level, but it changed. For example, I'm working from home. I'm doing kind of a business now for 7 years. When my mom used to tell them, Divya is working from home and my son is there and my daughter is somewhere else.
Hmm.
So they used to think maybe my mom is hiding. Divya is not doing anything. She's just sitting at home. Now I received President Award. Now they're amazed. Ki how come it is possible? So
Hmm.
this is like, when we tell them, they don't realize it unless others appreciate or acknowledge this. So this is the tragedy.
If I ask you, was the people's perception have changed, or it is you who got changed?
It's both way. I mean, 90% it's me who changed because I have become very thick skinned now. I have realized, when you can't do much, people will sympathize you. Okay, and when you can do more than average, then people will envy you and they will start saying, it was luck or it was this or that. It was, then they won't accept it, or they will just distance from yourself. So the point is, you have to work on yourself no matter what. No need to rely on everybody or anybody. Just focus on yourself. That is the only thing, and just be thick skinned. That is something I believe now. You have to be thick skinned, otherwise you can't survive.
Not just one, not just two, not just three. It's a big list of menu you have achieved. All these things happened only out of your frustration.
See, there are a few things like some people can say, ki, you were denied admission in class 8 and none of the school gave you admission. See, there could have been two things. At that time, I would have experienced depression and it would have left everything,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I chose the other path. So I could use it like fuel. And the thing is, I did my, that was the day, Suman, when I realized ki, I belong to a small city near Nangal where people don't even know its name. Okay.
Hmm.
So I thought, "Ki, now this is time. I will do everything from my small city and I will prove everybody wrong." So I did my correspondently, I did my boards 10th, 12th, and I did in graduation in Himachal University in this public administration and political science. Then I did MA English from Punjab University. Everything on purpose. I did correspondently. Then I started working with two companies from home. Then I ventured into this business, corporate writing business, and today also I'm doing it from my home. Simultaneously, I went to all the schools in the area and institutions, sensitized them about Right to Education Act and what are the technologies, so that no other student should be denied this admission because of their discrimination. And I'm happy that schools and institutions here are giving admission to kids now without asking them anything or without denying anything. And the surprising thing is, the school which told me to leave the school, they only, in 5 years back, they called me for a sensitizing session. And it
Oh,
was a success for me. It was a silent success for me because I knew that they were the ones
yeah,
who
yeah.
told their management. And recently also, when I received this president award, a national award in December 2023, they again called me for giving a motivational session and life story. So
Hmm.
again they called me. So this is like, I feel ki your experiences help you grow also.
Yeah.
Because I was doing everything correspondently, I had no friends. Because my sister, my brother, my friends went to bigger cities for better opportunities.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I was at home. I used to spend most of my time with my pet dog, and that was the time when I learned tabla. I play harmonium. Then I am a guitarist. I love guitar. I play ukulele. So that time I utilized in upskilling. So I feel ki obviously that was my very youth, very young I was, and I used to think, ki, "Arey, I would have hanged around and have fun." But that was not the option for me. So I used it in a different way by learning more and more skills.
You are a bouquet of talent, Divya. But even then, you had a hard time while you were working in the office. I mean to say, you face very crucial discrimination in your workplace, right? Could you please throw some
Yeah.
light on that?
Suman, actually, many people asked me, why didn't you choose government job
Hmm.
after MA and all? But I had interest in writing. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, there are not many opportunities in government sector when it comes to writing.
Yeah.
After MA, it's mostly about, teaching or professor and banks and all. So I
Yes.
didn't choose that path because for me, corporate was more adventurous.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ventured into this and I did content writing initially. I did at that time. To see, in recently, in like 3, 4 years, content writing has been very popular. But
Correct.
at that time, 7 years ago or 8 years ago, in 2016, nobody even knew what it is.
Yes.
So at that time, I ventured into this and I gave an interview to one company in Chandigarh. So I started working for them. And the good part was I didn't tell them about my vision impairment.
Hmm.
But then I was to receive that NCPED award in 2016 in Delhi. So I had to take 2 days leave. So I am very disciplined. I hardly take leaves. So I told my boss, ki, there's an emergency. I have to take leave. They said, ki, okay, tell me the reason. Only then we will give you,
Hmm.
because corporate works like this. So I said, see, I hope it won't affect our professional bond, but let me tell you that I'm visually impaired and I work like this. So he was curious, and but he couldn't question me anything about my capabilities because he already seen my work for
Yeah.
7 months by
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Point is, I proved it there. And but there were times when there was discrimination after that company. I experienced, he was just delaying the salary and also I switched. Then I ventured into a US company. They were also in content. So I
Hmm.
told them ki, I'm a person with vision impairment and I hope this is inclusive company. So they said, yeah, that won't be a problem, we will take care of it.
Hmm.
After 9 months of working with them, they said in a mail, they said, the way you are doing great, but we regret to tell ki you have to put your papers because you just mentioned in your previous mail that the tool they wanted me to use was not accessible. So I requested them, you just have to take my written content through that tool and it takes hardly 2 minutes. So if you can help me out with that. They said, see, we are not here to, help other and all this stuff. They were rude. At that time, I realized that sometimes companies do commit or do say it loud and clear, we are inclusive. But when the time comes, they show their colors. So
Yeah.
that was the time I realized that I don't want to keep all my eggs in the same basket, and I diversified. I ventured into freelancing initially, and then in a few months I ventured into full time writing. So then I had a client, two three clients from India, one from Dubai and one from US. So I had these clients initially and I started working with them. The point was, I knew ki even if, unfortunately, if any of the clients had any accessibility issues, at least I have other clients in hand. So that was the thing. So because I was so fed up with this approach of, employers or these people, this is not done, this is not working, you have to put your papers. So I was so, even today I get calls from people, we are looking for this, would you like to this? I said, no, I don't want to, I'm not looking for one. Many people ask me, I don't have Sundays off. I don't have 26th January or 15th August off, because obviously it's kind of a business.
Yeah.
If I want work today, I will lose my money for today. It's like that. Okay, but I am happy because at least I know because technology, Suman, you will agree that technology is changing rapidly.
Yes.
The Zomato app, which was accessible yesterday, it may not be accessible today.
Correct.
But when it comes to your income, if your client, if your employer says, our tools we are changing and it's not accessible, so that's a problem. And I can't afford to lose my, income thing. So that was the thing. Yeah, I thought I should diversify. And I'm happy with this. It's challenging. I have to prove every day. Client has new expectations, so many things, strategizing content, so many different people. But a good part is I get to talk to people from corporate and they had no idea how visually impaired people work. So I get contentment when I tell them about these other softwares and we use them. And it feels good when one of the clients recently, only last week, told me, Divya, for this project you have to use this specific tool. Please check if your screen reader reads it.
Oh,
So it was so nice to hear screen reader from her mouth. They also know. I mean, it was cute.
yes.
So I thought, okay, at least income is one thing, but you are creating awareness. She may
Right.
come across some person with disability later in her life, or and she will create awareness regarding these softwares. So this is also a different kind of contentment that comes along.
Divya, now after you started your startup, your own business, now you're an entrepreneur. Now, how do you look at the society? Now, how do you look at your client? Now, do you still feel discrimination?
Because of accessibility, yes. Apart from that job, yes, I did lose a few clients, like projects. For example, there was a gaming project from UAE, and that gentleman talked to me and he said, you have to write on this. Have you ever worked on gaming thing? I said yes. We discussed, he was convinced, but then he was very adamant that you have to play the game first. I told him, what's the point? I mean, I have researched well, I have strategized, I have convinced you with the knowledge. Why to no? He was so adamant. You have. Then I told him, see, I'm visually impaired. I can give you quality content, but what is not in my hand is not in my hand. Then he said, no, you have to play. Then I said, okay, I lose you, you lose me. It's fine. I don't want to work then on this project. Obviously, that was not in my hand. Simultaneously, there were times when there were even clients whom I never took favor from, but when they got to know that I'm visually impaired, then they used to tell, "Ki, see, you are visually impaired, and we are working with you." And but sometimes people use double language and double meaning language, and
Is
you
it?
get to know, ki, okay, they are trying to belittle you. There
Oh,
are times, yeah. Indirectly they will say ki, for example, in one of the scenarios, I had a client, I was working with her. See, when we are into corporate writing or any sort of such kind of a business, we are the accountants also. So I make my Excel sheet every month and invoice. Okay, so it's not just I'm writing, I have to take care of other things. So I told her, see, I'm not too comfortable with Google Docs, it gets complicated, so I will just make an Excel sheet and will send it to you. And she was happy with it because it has nothing to do with, and there was no extra effort on her part for
yes,
this.
yes.
But then one good day when she was late with salary, and it was like it was 15th of next month and she hadn't given the salary, I told her. She said, yeah, we are working on it now. You see, now you are also not cooperating with Google Docs. I said, why didn't you counter me at that time only? I mean, you are keeping it and you're not, when it's like when the other person has loopholes, they will try to use this
Yeah.
as a weapon. So that is something that I realized. But and yes, it's scary, Suman. I mean, not from a perspective of a person with disability, but when you go into any kind of corporate thing, whether it's corporate writing, coding, or any other thing, you lose money initially. For example, I forgot to tell, when I started venturing into this full time work, I associated with one of the clients, and they had proper Skype. At the time, there was Skype only, proper Skype, website, app, and they had lots of work. And they said, 15 days work and then you will get your half pay. So I did 15 days of tireless work, and on the 16 days, there was no website, no Skype ID, no LinkedIn, nothing. They disappeared.
You have given the work to them, right? Matlab, you have
Yeah,
submitted
so I
everything,
lost
right?
26, I lost 26K for that project.
Oh.
It was not the first time. Once I lost 14K. And at that time, I talked to the other person who was working on the coding for them. So I told them, you only introduced me, so now tell me, you will pay for this. He said, I also lost. He didn't even give me. So these are the things that are very they're rising. I mean, after pandemic, every other person from the disability community, they are calling me and asking, could you please guide us, we also want to venture into corporate writing, content writing, copywriting. So I said, yeah, sure. The first thing is you have to get into LinkedIn, and you have to make proper networking, you have to do, and proper skills and knowledge, you have to present yourself every day.
Yeah.
They tried a few days and then they said, no, we are not getting client. But no, it takes time. It takes years. It's not like, you will get a client that way, because there are red flags that you have to identify. These days, there are so many scams.
Yeah.
So everything is happening all around. Yeah.
Divya, could you please give a little bit of overview about corporate writing, what exactly it is?
See, there can be different things these days. Corporate writing, content writing is there where you have to write content for a company, or maybe a blogger, or maybe a solo website owner who is not that expressive, or not so strategic about their writing. Of course, recently ChatGPT has come, Bard has come, and people thought, they were asking me, so now you're looking for the other option. I said no, because the thing is, Suman, we mostly write strategic, and we strategize content for companies. Secondly, they use the content on their websites and platforms which is informative, plagiarism free, and human written. So if I'm writing 500 words regarding some project, I have to take it through a plagiarism tool, then a human tool which checks whether it's written from a chat gpt or anything, and it has to be 0% of auto AI.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are these additional tasks which we are not paid for. It takes additional 2-3 minutes to check it and send them. So these are the things which have emerged, and today it's not that easy, which was into like 7 years back, because we have to attach so many website screenshots, tools screenshots, ki 0% plagiarism, 0% AI written. And the thing is, if a content, for example, if somebody writes a content and which is written by chat gpt and website uses it, it will be of no use for them. Why? People generally think, we will read and we will get knowledge, but for website, their website page will be banned by Google, because they eventually use search engine optimization, SEO. So if the content is written by a chat or bot, it will recognize it ki it's written by, and it will nullify the website or page. So they won't be appearing on Google page, or like that. So that's why it's very crucial that the content that websites or these e-commerce or these people are using is absolutely human written. It has to be human written, otherwise their website will, no matter how expressive, informative, factual that content is, if it's not human written, it will not be there on, it will be nullified by Google. So
Divya,
this is basic one thing.
uh,
Yeah.
these days I often come to an argument with people because people are relying badly on AI. So basically, I'll share you one of my personal experience I had a chat with
Yeah.
one of my friend who is working with TCS. So
Yeah.
this guy advises me to use chat gpt for writing anything, like for that matter, writing and letter, writing an essay, writing an email,
Yeah.
everything. I tell him, see, basically, if I start relying on AI, I feel that my mind or my capability of brain gets degenerated. So do you agree
Exactly.
with me?
See, Suman, if the humdrum work, the boring work of daily, like you're writing a mail and the repeated work, you can use AI. It will be helpful. It's smart work, okay? But when you have to write an emotional message to somebody or a professional or profound message to somebody with facts or your feelings, then you should not rely on this. Why? Because otherwise, as you said, your capabilities will, they will, you will lose your capabilities. You will become very, what we can say, your expression, way of expression will be very,
Your creativity is compromised.
yeah, it is compromised. And moreover, now the other example is, many people just say ki, Google, they ask Google or Shiri, or they will ask anything. If you will ask somebody on the road ki, what is the meaning of this, they won't use their brains. They will just say okay Google, yeah, okay wo, and they will ask. So now the point is, their mental capabilities are not developing only. That's the thing. This chat GPT is next level. In everybody, most of the people are using chat GPT, and there's no harm, using it. But of course, your capabilities will be hampered this way. I agree with you. It's not right. You can rely on it 10%, but don't make it the sole. And yes, Suman, since I'm into professional writing, I can identify if a content is written by chat GPT or any bot or a human, because the vocabulary is 80% the same, no matter
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
make them.
yeah.
For
The
example,
feel is the same.
they always use individuals. Check any chat GPT. Okay, they will always use the same kind of phrases, the ends, the beginning. They may create stuff for you, but you will get the sense if you are experienced at writing. So you will get to, yeah, it's not, it won't touch the heart. Relatability is less.
Divya, the top most highly reputed person in our country is the president. And
Yeah.
it is something really cool to
Hmm.
meet him or to meet her. And it becomes more amazing and exciting when you receive some kind of appreciation or acknowledgement from them. But here
Yeah.
you are being awarded. I want to
Yeah.
know more about it, Divya.
It was obviously a dream come true, because I had worked so many years, so many decades, and it's not just about what you have done in the disability sector. It's about your achievements, your struggles, and everything. And when they called me on the stage, they told six things about me. So it itself showed ki, these are the things for what I'm achieving it, and individual excellence. So it was a pleasure meeting her. But at that time, Suman, I had that feeling, the other people can see her, and and we were not allowed to touch her or shake hand or anything. So I couldn't feel the meeting. I was happy. I was photographed. People saw me on the stage. My family told me ki she was smiling at you and everything other. But I had that kind of, that gulp in my throat. But, with God's grace, I was the only one who was invited by President Ma'am on 26th January to President House for evening tea.
Wow.
I went there, and I was the only visually challenged person there. There was two wheelchair user ladies, elder ladies, but I was the only visually challenged person there. So she didn't shake a hand with anybody. She shook hands with me. She
Wow.
talked to me. Mr. Modi had a word with me. I had a
Wow.
selfie with Modi. We spoke for like a minute. See, what happened was, when Mr. Modi came, then I asked the lady sitting next to me. My mom was there as my escort. Okay, so I asked that lady, "Hey, do you think I should shake hands? Because I can't see. So how would I feel the presence?" So she said, "See, Mr. Modi is very, he's kind of a strict guy. He wants his security is there. They may, shun your hand." So I said, "See, for me, it's a big opportunity. I will try my best." So when he came, I just extended my hand. So everybody told me he observed you for a minute, and then he shook my hand with both his hands.
Oh,
You
so
know
you
that,
shook your hand with Modi.
yeah, I had a photo also.
Oh my God. Awesome, Divya.
He shook my hand with both his hands. Okay, and it was like a gentleman's, that firm shake hand. So I said, ki, he said, hi, Divya. I said, ki, I'm Divya. So he said, hi, Divya, how are you? उन्होंने हिंदी में बोला, तो they said in हिंदी, आप कैसी हैं? मैंने बोला, मैं ठीक हूँ सर, आप बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है आपसे मिलके. तो मैंने बोला, सर एक फोटो ले सकते हैं? Actually, phones were not allowed, okay? But somehow I managed to take my phone, and it was with a gentleman standing next to me. तो आज सर की फोटो ले सकते हैं? सर कहते हैं ये लोग उनके सर के साथ ना, देयर वर अराउंड 15 कैमरामैन विद सर इन प्रेसिडेंट हाउस. So they were taking photos. So I said, ki, sir, if you don't mind, can I just get a photo in my phone? Everyone turned, ki, how did I get that courage? Ki, that phone is not allowed. So my phone. So he said, he smiled and he said, चलिए ले लीजिए. So then I said that person standing next to me, sir, please एक photo ले लीजिए. So I had two photos. In one photo, he is standing with me shoulder to shoulder and he's smiling at the camera. And in other photo, he is shaking a hand with me. So these, and then I had the chance to meet French president also. At that time, French president was there in Delhi on 26th Jan this year. So he also shook hands with me and he spoke for a minute. So it was a very good experience, and especially President Ma'am. I think law of attraction it is, because I had that gulp. I couldn't shake hands because there was a protocol. So that was the second time I met ma'am.
Proud of you, Divya. Divya, I have
Thank
also
you.
seen you talking to big film celebrities like Karan Johar and many other people. What's happening? Are you trying to get into movies or what?
No, not exactly, Suman. Actually, in 2015, some lady called me for an international film festival for persons with disabilities, which happened in Delhi for the first time. Okay, so at that time they called me and they sponsored this, booked rooms for me and everything. I went there with my dad and we stayed there. I gave a motivational session with Mr. Tom Elter there. Okay, so after this President Award, and then we had this two events in Delhi recently. This Radio Dance Birthday Convention, and then I had that Purple Fest also in Delhi. So during that time, I received that lady's call again, and she said, "Ki, we would like to have you for this international fest, which is taking place in Chandigarh for 5 days." So I said, see, I can't come for 5 days because I won't get a leave because it's March end, and I won't get a leave. So they said, see, it's a big opportunity for you. You can take bites. You can create a word regarding inclusion because we have been following you and you're doing great. So I said, okay, let's give me some time. Then I was little tensed also for a week or two because these people are glamorous, women, and reality is reality. They love glamour. And I just called that lady the next week and I asked her, "Ki, if you don't mind me asking, can I just bring my cane? Because I have seen in glamour places, people don't like wheelchairs or cane. This is harsh truth, but true." So she said, yes, no problem. So I had that hesitation, everybody is showing off their glamorous and all, but they said, it will be nice. You will be the only person with disability. There will be, basically, it was a international fest, CIFF, Investor International Film Festival in Chandigarh. It happened there first time. So they called me and approached me. I went there. I stayed in Taj Hotel in Chandigarh for 5 days. And there were every day there were some or the other discussions regarding budget, investments, and all regarding movies, documentaries, and non-commercial movies. Simultaneously, there were 81 documentaries which were being played in the cinema hall for free for people in Sector 17, Chandigarh. And there were exhibition regarding Devanand sir and Raj Kapoor sir. But I was more inclined towards the happenings which were taking place in Taj Hotel, so I mostly stick there only. So I happened to meet first. Initially, I happened to meet the Boman Irani sir, who is such a gentleman. He is so polite, so humble, so down to earth. I met him twice. We talked. I took his bite also. Then he shared his experience. Then I met some OTT celebs whom I don't know much, but my sister, my mom, and my friends, everybody know them so much.
Hmm.
So they are popular. And they are the stars at this moment, OTT stars, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
So there were Jaideep Singh Alawat, and then Roshan Matthews from that area, south side.
Hmm.
And then Punjabi actors, there's some directors like Richa Chadda ma'am, who has done work with Buffy and all movies.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then there's Shekhar Kapoor sir,
Hmm.
and his daughter, and there was some Sudhir Mishra sir. So many other people were there, and
Hmm.
I was then told, on the final day, on the closing ceremony, there will be an interview with Mr. Karan Johar, and we are giving you an opportunity to ask him questions regarding inclusion. So I said, okay. They said, I was nervous because I have given thousands of interviews.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, but I have already taken interview of people. But I was nervous, but I was very confident. I was not nervous about Karan Johar. I was nervous about the head because she had high expectations from me.
Hmm. Hmm.
So before the session, she said ki Karan is in a hurry and you have to wrap up the session. I was given 15 minutes, but before the session, they said ki you have to wrap up in 5 to 8 minutes.
Hmm.
Okay, so first of all, we are visually impaired, so braille I couldn't take there because obviously there was no table to keep braille and
Hmm.
read.
Hmm.
I just memorized the questions I made.
Hmm.
So I made a few questions, but I had to cut short and I had to keep the questions very limited. So there are some limitations also, of course, when such a high profile, event is there. So
Yeah.
they said only you are the person and one more lady, Namrita Joshi, who was taking his interview before me for like 45 minutes regarding Dharma production and everything.
Hmm.
So they were talking for that. And then she said, we have an inspirational person from Punjab
Hmm.
and she wants to ask you a few questions. So my sister made that entire video, and which is I think all over the place at the moment.
Yeah.
So they called me and I asked him questions, and he was polite enough to. I know I was in a hurry to wrap up because I had that time clock going behind in my head because I was told you have limited time.
Hmm.
And so I asked him questions and everybody liked it. The questions were very nice, spot on, and everything, and he answered very well. So I personally feel ki, when you get such a chance, you should humbly ask them questions which you mean are important. And once you develop a bond or link with such people, only then you should go ahead and ask controversial questions. The audio description and so many other things. Because these are the things that I feel, should not be asked in the first interaction.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
first you have to enter that field,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
at a limited time. So I had these questions, and he also answered it well. Okay, so that was the thing, and see, the only point was that at least he got to know कि yes, it's been people are expecting it. There is more than 10 crore people with disabilities who are expecting them to work on this. So the experience was good, and I look forward कि maybe he will do something about this, or I'm just trying to create pressure on them कि maybe they will think over this. Let's see. And Sumant, after attending these sessions of different celebrities in this fest, I realized that things shinier from the distance. The grass on the other side always look greener.
Hmm. Hmm.
When I heard these people for hours and hours, see, my view is that these people are struggling. I'm not talking about Karan Johar, but other directors, producers, actors. They said that we hardly have money. We don't have money. We put every penny in a project, and if it doesn't work, we are on the road.
Hmm.
Even
Hmm.
actors are not making money. After this OTT thing, cinema halls are no longer hit.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there are so many ifs and buts. So the industry is unfortunately not doing great.
Yes.
And but I am glad that I could talk to so many people apart from Karan Johar also. I took bites. I got an idea about their ideology related to inclusion. Some of them said even like Roshan Matthews said, he did a movie that in language. It was impressive, at that I could learn sign language. And when he did it, people got to know yes, there is something called sign language. Then there were some more people who experienced. Boman Irani sir said कि they did their first movie, a documentary with NAB India Mumbai, where they were blind people. So they
Oh.
shared their experiences. There was willingness. Of course, there was willingness. Nobody showed a cold shoulder. So the experience as a whole, Suman, and let's hope maybe this could be the beginning of more inclusivity. And because I feel if we won't talk about inclusion, it won't happen. So we
Yes.
have to, and it's not easy.
Now tell me, Divya, what do you feel about discrimination among friends and close family members or relatives?
In my family, my parents supported me, and they said कि we supported you because we could see you doing work, we could see you putting efforts, and we could see कि, if we will guide you, you are reaping results for us, and you are working hard. So we also got the motivation कि yes, she can do this. But for extended family, whether it's grandparents or cousins or otherwise, I had to prove them every time. People used to talk to my sister and brother, wish them, but neglecting me. Then there were some friends who used to call my sister for birthday party, and they knew that I am also there at home, but they won't invite me. I don't know why. I don't know. I never could understand why it happened, but how these things happened, and they even happen today. But I try to make n- now, since I am experienced, I try to tell them, if you have any hesitation, if you want to ask anything regarding disability, please ask. I won't mind. Don't assume, and don't create a gulf or gap. So I started a kind of a, I started some talks also recently, 5 videos I've made regarding what mainstream people think, and their thoughts sometimes stop them from talking to you. And discrimination is there. Sometimes my neighborhood people think Divya is very arrogant. She never says hi. They think so because they don't realize that I can't see, and they will wave their hand from a distance, I guess. They- that means she is very arrogant. They never try to, understand. Maybe she has some problem, she has some issue. They never ask. Only if they ask, they will know na, that I'm visually impaired. People sometimes don't realize that you have a disability, and their ignorance sometimes make them brutal. Like I received project award, so half of my neighborhood didn't know that I'm visually impaired. So they said, ki, oh, okay. So that is the thing. Sometimes people don't realize it, and they pass a comment, and they will say something which is not right. But we can't just fight with everybody. We can't please everybody. We can't make understand everybody. So the sooner we understand that, the better we can live.
Divya, I am giving you superpowers in your hands to change something in this country. So, what is that one thing you're going to change in this country, Bharat?
Is it regarding disability or as a
Your
whole?
wish, Divya. It's all your powers, your wish.
See, everybody talks about bribe and all, but these things we know that can't be changed. But I feel obviously that at ground level, these things can't be changed, and that's the truth. Even if you have invisible powers, it won't change. But yeah, in general, I would say कि people should mind their own business. I feel कि they should live and let live, and that is something I want from this Bharat. In people are more interested about what is happening in your life, why you couldn't do. So I feel कि there has to be that kind of sensibility in everything, whether corporate, whether personal life, whether professional life. So this is one thing I would like to change. The society should mind their own business than pricking and digging into lives of others in professional, personal, or social or any aspect. So that is something I would like to change because you have given me such a huge power, invisible. So that is something I would like to change.
It
So
was
great.
amazing talking to you, Divya. Thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity to host you on Suman versus Human.
Thank you so much, Suman, and my pleasure. And I thank you for giving me the chance to share my story there, talk about karate and everything, and radio also I touched a bit. So it's a as a whole, it's a good experience talking to you. Yeah.
My dear listeners, that was Divya Sharma, the most talented. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please let me know in the comment section what you feel about this episode. See you soon next Monday, and meanwhile, please hit that red subscribe button if you're not subscribed yet. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.